play of the game from way down.
Silence. Rainer getting absolutely
A team wipe.
The living bomb's going.
Oh my goodness, the ring. Bombs Nico gonna find Rainer.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series Season 8. Got another Division D East game coming at you here. This is going to be a replay cast between the Zul'jin Distillery and One More Fight. A veteran team in Zul'jin Distillery versus a newer addition to the Nexus Gaming Series, the One More Fight team here, with their little Carbot minion as their logo. So just want to update the title here. So one thing I forgot there. Get that updated and then we'll go ahead and get started on this. So I've got everything set up already for game number 1 here. I don't know the bands. They didn't send them to me, so we don't get to see those. Obviously we don't get to see the draft either. But what we do get to see is the game, and the good news is that because we're doing this today and not tomorrow after the patch, we can actually do it with our overlays. Let's probably let the teams know that I'm doing this too, huh? Let me pause this real quick here. All right, there we go. So turn off that, and let's get started. Game number 1 between Zul'jin Distillery and One More Fight on Tomb of the Spider Queen. That's not supposed to show. There we go. Went to the draft screen instead of the game screen. All right, on the left, we've got the Zul'jin Distillery. We've got B-Fresh playing the Tychus, D-Wit on Varian, Lead on Malfurion, Ankle Shot on Jaina, and Nutcracker on Leoric. Over here to the right, we've got One More Fight. And we've got Hellstorm on Orphea, Thorides on Sylvanas, Midnight Fire going to be playing the Alex Strauss, I believe. Echo on ETC, and Lord Gallic on Blaze. So we do have these talents coming up. So the percent damage talent for the Black Arrows there for Sylvanas, the Neural Stim Pack for Blaze, Ancestral Strength, I think it's called. Yep, for Orphea. Prog Rock getting those healing globes and eventually healing his allies for the ETC. And I don't even know the name of this. Circle of Life. So eventually getting additional globes there for the ETC. But Echo taking a lot of damage here. Does have that armor, but holy cow. Tychus finishing the job on the cow. So on the side here for Zul'jin Distillery, D-Wit playing this variant is going to go into that Lion's Maw for level 1. Eventually giving the additional damage and 50% slow that does not decay. Also got Fingers of Frost for Jaina, looking for globes, so both sides looking for globes on this here. Hellstorm taking a lot of damage, and I think if you're Orphea right now, you're happy that Varian does not have that taunt yet. Osirion's renewal for the Leoric as a little bit of a skirmish there going in onto that ETC is again. And what is Celestial Alignment for Malfurion? And of course, Tychus had his abilities changed to level 1, so I think this is actually the first time I've been able to cast a Tychus game since his changes. So it actually, this is basically what his quest level 1 was before, but he also has a couple of others that reduce the cooldown of minigun or increases his actual auto attack range. So ETC was looking very much in danger there, is able to just barely slide past that root and save himself. If that root lands, ETC is a Big Mac. Blaze already here, pretty low on the mana. Was gonna try to get a turn in, but Jet Propulsion stuns out the Leoric, and not gonna get the turn in, but also doesn't take any extra damage. And here comes Varian, does have the taunt now, but not enough of his team to follow up, so he's not gonna make that Orphea hang out for a few minutes. Let's take a look at the rest of these talents here. Orphea going into those Dread talents here. And Leoric is trying to turn in those 11 gems, but takes just a truckload of damage from one more fight. Is able to get away, though. Merc Queen, the pick by Sylvanas. And we do see her rotating down, right down to the siege camp. A few more gems turned in on the side of Zul'jin Distillery. Looked like maybe Ankle Shot got his turned in. Hellstorm as well, trying to do the same, but Jenny getting the stall. ETC is coming up on that Pignata mount. But the Piercing Frostbolt's not quite quickly enough to stall Orphea's turn. But a big root out onto Blaze is not able to get that Jet Propulsion, and that's going to be a kill onto the Blaze. He does lose, 9 gems there. Now, interesting little note here as Hellstorm getting low. Jet Propulsion does not, like, for whatever reason, I think this is a bug, but most abilities that make you move, like a Burrow Charge or things like that, if you're rooted, you can't use them. They don't exist on your bar. They just show as grayed out. Jet Propulsion is not one of those abilities. You can waste a Jet Propulsion standing in the middle of a root, which is exactly what just happened. So we do have 30 gems now and enough for turn-in, but the taunt keeping Echo into that Blizzard almost enough, but not quite. But anyways, Zul'jin Distillery does have enough for turn here, sitting at 30 so far, needing another 20. And let's see what we got here. Is it 6? Yeah, so most of those are on Leoric. And Tychus almost has enough for turn as well. But one more fight getting a whole bunch of those turned in. So they're actually in the lead on the gems now. They don't really have anybody that can just turn in, once to get it. Oh, they did get the kill onto Blaze again down here. So looks like Nutcracker is going to get the turn in the bot lane. So that's going to secure the first Web Weavers over for Zul'jin Distillery. And they've got now a camp showing here off to the right as Sylvanas was picking that up. And this is going to help them clear out that mid lane pressure from the Web Weaver and give them the opportunity to go into another lane and maybe kill one in the top lane. But Tyka is going to get the power slide. Dewey coming in with the taunt, followed up by the Blizzard, but it's going to be Sylvanas going in, getting that kill onto Tychus, and that's a big play for them. They're going to be able to now clear this mid Web Weaver out pretty quickly, and hopefully they can rotate up and get to work on that top one. Blaze trying to stall out bottom lane here, but let's check in on top. As ETC getting taunted, then rooted, so he's taking just tons of damage from that Blizzard. Let's check in on Jaina. 2,851, so even with all the taunts and Blizzards, Jaina's not quite been able to get too much going on her baseline trait quest there. But 17 stacks here for Lion's Maw, 16 for Fingers of Frost, as compared to the 13 for Circle of Life. And she gets taunted there, Alexstrasza does, but far enough away that no follow-up. And interestingly enough, so Alexstrasza going into the E build for her Dragon's Breath. So she's got the extra slows and then also giving herself some extra healing as well. Now who's it gonna be? Oh. They were patient for a little bit. ETC's gonna come into the trap, but just Tychus and Malfurion not quite enough to get him the kill. I think if Varian was there, they probably could have between the root and the taunt. But 47 gems here so far turned in for one more fight. But they're down from level 10s here, so... And this is always the real question. Do you turn in your gems so that before the level 10 of the enemy team arrives, knowing that they're going to get level 10 in the process? Oh, there's a big taunt. Here comes a Ring of Frost. And that is 11 gems. Make it a few more as Alexstrasza does pop Dragon Queen, but she's not able to get out of there. And that's, anyway, so the point of what I was getting at was, you know, do you turn in your gems so that there's an objective on the map, something for the enemy team to deal with? Or do you wait until you get 10 so that you actually have the opportunity to push with your web weavers? And it's a tough call. If you don't turn in, then you run the risk of, you know, losing your gems, which we saw. But ultimately they had enough because they'd already turned in 47. And level 10s are up and available, so we've got that shield wall for Varian. It's going to help out there for the big burst potential coming out of that Orphea and Tomb Ring of Frost. And here comes that big combo. There's the root and locking down the Blaze. And Blaze doesn't have new habits, so just going to keep him locked down. His reduced cooldowns don't really help if he can't get out of the bad stuff. We also have Tranquility and Draken Laser Drill there, rounding out the Zoldan Distillery heroics. But on the side of one more fight here, as Varian charging in gets knocked back by ETC, so no taunt onto the beefcake. We've got the Cleansing Flame, Mosh Pit, Wailing Arrow, Combustion, and of course the Eternal Feast to go with that Mosh Pit. So even with the Sylvanas, not a lot of push value coming out here from this turn-in, and a lot of that is because of the fact that they lost those two heroes. So the web weavers were, you know, a little bit back here. Big taunt onto the Orphea, getting the knockback. The Ring of Frost misses Orphea, but a huge Mosh Pit is going to hit 3. Big Combustion, keeping them all locked down in this massive Eternal Feast. DeWitt looks like he may survive. Never mind the taunt, the jet propulsion, and that's going to be a 3rd kill here coming out for one more fight. Fantastic play. Make it a 4th kill. Only Leoric surviving. 20 gems sitting there in the lane. Leoric trying to get in there and get them. He is going to get them. And that's going to give one more fight the opportunity to come up here and start working on this boss. Now, they don't have a ton of boss burn. They do have the Sylvanas. So all of the Zoldan Distillery will be up here relatively soon. But I like this. The web weavers are coming up. Leoric did get that turn in because he got those 20 gems. And with this boss, it's going to help them to defend it. You know, top lane becomes a mostly a non-issue, and the bot mid, they can start working on those web weavers. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Although Leoric already down here, clearing out this minion wave, gonna push that web weaver right onto this fort. So this mid fort, or I'm sorry, this bottom fort is very likely going to go down. And knowing that they've completed the web weaver in the mid lane, Leoric taken off there, knows that that bottom web weaver completes the fort. And this top web weaver is about a 1/3 left here. So at this point, they need to be up here to defend this. And it's only ETC. ETC needs to be really careful. The taunt plus Tychus and a root. And ETC just gets blown up here. There's that taunt, there's Tychus, there's the root, there's the Ring of Frost, but he gets grenaded out of it. But didn't matter, it was still enough to make sure that ETC was taken out. So they get the kill onto ETC, they get the kill onto the fort. And Sylvanas is going to fall as well to the damage coming out from Jaina. Lion's Maw now getting completed, so that's going to give that extra slow, and of course the big burst of damage as well. Dragon Queen used to help push back the team here. And taunt going out on the Blaze. There's the root. Eternal Feast, though, and Combustion, I think, was used in there. So a little bit of a slow. No kills out of it. And Jet Propulsion used to get him out. ETC zoning out using that Face Melt to knock back the Zoldan Distillery. So that's going to put them in a position to go ahead and back away now. Now, is this the healing one or is Pacify? Pacify. So slow and reduce an enemy hero's damage by 50% for 3 seconds. So that's really going to help for the Jaina. It's not going to do a lot for Tychus because really when he's doing his damage, it's all percent damage anyways. But it could help with the Jaina. Bot lane is really pushed up, and already Zul'jin Distillery has 2/3 of the gems that they need for their next Web Weaver turn-in. Varian looking for that ETC once again. Echo getting the power slide just in time to stay safe. And we've got a little bit of a split going on here. So Leoric's in the bot lane, sending that siege camp out. So that's going to give Zul'jin Distillery the opportunity now to clear this, as Sylvanas here in the bot lane trying to clean it up and address the siege camp coming in. 37 gems so far here for one more fight, and the Lyrican Tomb used to zone out ETC, but it looks like even with that power slide going around the wall, he's just going to get taken out. And this is a really powerful, like, single target blow up potential comp between the Leoric, I'm sorry, and Tomb certainly, but the Varian Taunt plus Root locking the heroes down. You know, you've got, what do we have from Tychus at level 4? So Tychus did go in the rhythm, so, you know, the longer they can keep them locked down, the more damage he's going to do. And here's another example of this. The Taunt, the Root, and Jaina just popping off that chill damage, and they can, you know, just rotate around, find a quick pick. And one more fight needs to, they need to be together, but their lanes are so pushed back that they're kind of struggling to do that right now. And now Zul'jin Distillery does have enough to turn in. So if they get a turn in here, this Web Weaver, you know, they likely get at least one keep. They have level 16s. Although one more fight does have the opportunity to get enough, although their lanes are pushed out far enough that it's not really safe for them to do that. But they do likely get level 16 before the Web Weaver's here, even just from the trickle XP. But this mid fort is gone, so, you know, I think they've got to be really careful, and having, you know, Orphea kind of walk up forward there. You know, they're really lucky that Varian didn't just pop in and get a taunt there. And there's that level 16. So ETC taking the imposing presence to help slow down those attacks from Tychus. The additional time on the Dragon Queen here, and gotta watch out for those waves. Thankfully Orphea already had her pre-tap there, but getting taunted, the Lion's Maw, and here comes the combustion here. ETC still has Mosh Pit, does use it, but goes down instantly. Eternal Feast, not going to get a whole lot of value. Did get a little bit there on the Leoric, but just a little bit too late on that Mosh Pit, as he was already about 10% health. And now the Dragon's going to get rooted along with Blaze here. Dragon trying to make it out, isn't going to. Blaze falling next. The top keep is down. They're looking at now the mid keep. And with 3 heroes down, I'm honestly surprised they don't just go core, because the top keep's already down. Zoom out. We can see that. But for completion's sake, they got to get that mid fort. They got to get that bottom fort keep. And they make their way onto the core here. And that's looking like it's going to be a game number 1 going over to Zul'jin Distillery, as they pop off their ultimates just to show them off. You get the opportunity to see a permanent Eternal Feast there. All right, let's take a look at these stats. Let's see, so that was 2 of Spider Queen. All right, get set up for game number 2 here. And game number 2 is on Infernal Shrines. Just go ahead and put in the players real quick here. Thanks for sticking around, Murda. Appreciate it. And yeah, XGD looked really strong there. You know, I'm interested to see how One More Fight does in Division D East here this season as a newer team. I think that they may have played in Heroes Lounge. I don't recall. But I've had the opportunity to speak to Midnight Fire. Really been a fantastic person. So, you know, I'd like to see them do well in their season here. Their, I believe, inaugural season in NGS. And okay, let's get this going. So when you guys come back and watch this, just want to shout you guys out. Thanks for joining the NGS. Glad to have you. Hope you enjoy your casts as we go through the rest of the season. Got a good variety of casters here. All right. And here we go. Game number 2, Infernal Shrines between Zul'jin Distillery and One More Fight. On the left, once again, we've got the Zul'jin Distillery. Nutcracker going to be playing the Leoric. We've got DeWitt on Johanna, Ankle Shot on Vala, B-Fresh on Tychus, and Lead on Stukov. And on the right, Midnight Fire going to be playing the Lili, Hellstorm on Jaina, Echo on Muradin, Thorodes on Thrall, and who did I miss? The Unused on Raynor. Did I say that right on the last round? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I had that wrong. But anyways, let's take a look at what we got. We got the Serpent, the Blinding Serpent here at 1 for Lili. That's going to help out with that Tychus damage. Third Wind for Muradin. Aura, welcome. How have I not been following your Twitch? I don't know. How have you not? But I'm glad you're stopping by, Aura, to check out. We're doing a replay cast here of Zul'jin Distillery and One More Fight. So glad you could hop in here. So Vala going into Vault build. Giving her that, eventually, that shorter cooldown. And we do have, interestingly enough, we've got Hellstorm and Thorodes on the top lane here, going up into the Leoric. Leoric taking a lot of damage, is going to have to tap, but it's fairly early, so that's okay. And a fair amount of blinds, really, on both sides. Johanna and Lili, you know, to help counter that Raynor and Tychus potential damage here. Also Muradin. Muradin can do a fair amount of auto attack damage. Good variety of casters here. Thanks, Murda. Appreciate it. Oh, man. Laws of Hope going to be for Johanna, and, you know what is this? Reactive Ballistospores. I'm not even sure what that is. Ah, right. So spreading out those weighted pustules. Bottom lane, they are going to rotate down here. Zul'jin Distillery, you're going to pick up this bottom siege camp. And One More Fight, continuing their rotation. Kind of expect to see them maybe pick up this siege camp, and they do. And so now Zul'jin Distillery has the opportunity to get onto theirs, as they are level 4, a little bit ahead of One More Fight. And I believe that's Neil Peasants. It is Neil Peasants. So that's going to give Leoric a bit more wave clear and the opportunity to clear shrines as well. Pretty effectively. Thrall here is a little bit out of mana. So for Thrall, he's going to go ahead and pick the Mana Tide, right? That's what that is? Yeah. So he's going to have a little bit better mana return, as a bit of a skirmish picked up here. So the Distillery getting their siege camp, and they are about 3/4 of a level ahead here. Nearly getting the kill onto Echo on Murden, but he's able to get behind that wall. Doesn't need to tap. Third wind keeps him nice and healthy. That's gonna now give Zul'jin Distillery the opportunity to come up here, get started on their Shaman camp, and that'll be going for them once this shrine is activated. Now, the shrine clear, I think, is a little bit more in favor of one more fight, but they have to be here. So they spent a lot of time in the mid lane. They didn't get down here quickly enough to be able to take advantage of their shrine clear. But holy smokes, Lili just getting destroyed there. I think mostly by the Vala. And already 10 to now 10. So an even matchup here on the point. And Dewitt being very aggressive about his positioning going into that Rainer. And it's going to be Murden who's having to pull back, as he's pretty much all out of mana. And that's, you know, that's one of the things I remember watching a video or reading a post or something that, you know, laid out a very simple point, which is if you chunk down a tank or can kill a tank, do it. You know, I mean, there's no reason not to attack a tank just because they happen to be there. But Echo, once again, about half health here and is trying to zone out, keep the Johanna and Vala away from the team. The unused, they're getting a lot of damage onto Vala, not quite able to get the kill, but has to back away as Rainer falling a little bit low here. Up in the top lane, though, look at how much value this Shaman camp, along with the Leoric, is getting. Gets an entire fort, as Thrall just not quite able to keep up with that. Murden does bait the Punisher over the wall here. This is a Mortar Punisher, so a lot of potential coming out of the damage of those mortars there. And we do see the teams here just generally dodging out of those. You know, 3 of those circles at once brings down quite a bit of damage, so they don't want to stand in those, and a lot of those circles were overlapping. So those mortars would have been pretty punishing, no pun intended. But blue team, Zul'jin Distillery getting 2 forts, and the Punisher setting up that CC chain, helping to make sure that Lili is just not having a good day of it. Let's take a look at level 7s here. We do have the cleanse out of Lili, so that's going to be helpful for the Blessed Shield, for example. Condemn, even, you know, if Stukov takes the root. And let's not forget, it has a little bit of a heal, so, you know, there's value to that as well. It's a very short cooldown. It's, I think, 45 seconds, something like that. 40 seconds. But it's also reduced by her fast feet, so as she's taking damage, it's going to reduce the cooldown of that as well. So 40 seconds could become 25-30 seconds. Vault completed for Vala, so that level 1 talent is complete. Subdue, the only quest talent not yet completed here for Johanna. Not really abnormal, as you have to hit 4 heroes to complete that one. But up in the top here, Leoric getting rotated on. Big stun coming out from Murden. Can they get the kill? They do. So 1 kill to 1. But the XP currently very much in favor of Zul'jin Distillery, especially with those 2 forts down and getting the camp now in the bottom. They're threatening this keep wall. But what do they got? They've got the Blessed Shield, they've got the Rain of Vengeance, Flailing Swipe. Tychus went Odin this time instead of Laser Drill, and of course, the Entomb from Leoric. So, not quite able to get the full wall just yet. They do get the tower and the wall itself. So they now have vision in the bot lane at least. And they got the XP from that tower. So bot lane now has even a little bit more pressure. Thrall still having difficulty dealing with this Leoric. Leoric ultimately coming in and just taking this aggressive camp. And that's, you know, that's going to be a problem. If Thrall can't deal with the Leoric, eventually that turns into a keep for them if they don't turn that around somehow. So they're going to have to, as a team, One More Fight's going to have to come up with a plan on how they can stop this Leoric pressure from continuing to push. But right now, with the level 10s, that's going to give Zul'jin Distillery the opportunity to get yet another fort down. And earlier they did have the rotation up onto Leoric, but Not quite able to get there this time, so that's going to give the full wall down here in favor of Zildjian Distillery. And for one more fight, we've got our ultimates now. So we've got the Hyperion, the Ring of Frost, the Earthquake, Avatar, and Jug of 1,000 Cups. So looking for that big wombo potential coming out like an Earthquake ring. But here comes that Ring of Frost. It does hit onto 2. Johanna walks out of it, though. And not enough follow-up there to get the Stukov. They had that opportunity, especially with this being a 3v4, I think. I don't think our Earthquake was there. So as Thrall was in lane. But still, I think that could have been a kill onto that Stukov, and they would have put them in a very good position. They have to be able to see that Leoric's in the bot lane, so... And with that pressure top, they've got to get this thing going very quickly. Jaina's still in the lane, so not going as quickly as they would like, and Stukov silencing the entire enemy team there for a moment. Big condemn. Lily popping the jugs, trying to keep her team alive, and here comes Leoric with the Entomb. Raynor getting caught in there, does survive. Not entirely sure how, but does manage to make it out. The Earthquake coming out as well, but Raynor now going down thanks to the damage coming out from the Odin. And Echo popping Avatar, does get stunned by the Rain of Vengeance. I think that interrupted Dwarf Toss as well. And Jaina being chased down here, the Blessed Shield being used to help to secure that third and presumably final kill of this fight. But that's going to give Zildjian Distillery now a nice, comfortable clear on the shrine. And as mentioned earlier, Neil Peasants is giving Leoric the opportunity to clear this rather quickly. That's another siege camp to go along with this Punisher. This is a frozen Punisher, so it's going to lock down the structures. Sorry about the camera work there. Managed to find the wrong keys. But that's going to give them a lot of potential value here. And this is, I don't know. I think that maybe they could have just grabbed this and pushed as 5 with the siege camp. I think that they probably would have gotten more value than, you know, having Vala come down here. This gives them pressure in the bot lane as well. So we'll see how much value that ultimately does get, but it also gives, you know, a little bit of time for one more fight to essentially have one more fight. They're going to start working on getting that XP. They get the pressure going here, and in the mid lane, Jaina's coming in here. I mean, they can't get it, but they can at least force Leoric to finish the camp. So 15 is available, level 12. And there goes a big fight starting here as the root coming out onto Johanna. She does get the Iron Skin, so Ankle Shot just barely surviving. It looked like Raynor was pretty close to taking the Vala out. And with the Odin here, getting a lot of value into these heroes. But Lily's able to keep that pretty well healthy, and Vala's still sitting at about half health. She's going to spread out that pustule, so nice and healthy once again. In the mid lane here, though, Punisher jumping over the wall. They are going to take this down before it takes down the keep, but that gives Zildjian Distillery the opportunity to push in onto this bottom keep here. And big root onto DeWitt, but it's going to be Ring of Frost going out. Only lands on the Leoric. The Entomb was used there, so ultimately a lot of ultimates used for no kills, at least yet. The only one available now is Blessed Shield, but look at this, probably looking for the Raynor, and they do get that kill onto the Raynor. Blessed Shield now going out, looking for that Muradin. And that's a quick 2 kills. There's 30 seconds here before Muradin's back, 20 seconds until Raynor. But Leoric is fairly low, and DeWitt doesn't have a whole lot of mana, so I don't think that they can end there. Unless they get another kill. If they keep getting kills, then, you know, eventually it doesn't matter. And that kill onto Jaina opens up a lot of potential for them, at least now, to move into the mid lane. They get that globe to help out with the mana problems that Johanna rather is having right now. But Nutcracker's still pretty low, spreading that heal from the Stukov here, and that's going to be the disengage. They still get a lot of damage onto this mid keep. It's not going to go down just yet, but the next time they come to town, you can bet that that is going to fall. And we see the backs coming back here from basically everybody on the side of Zildjian Distillery. The last time we saw this camp was a 1v1 between Thrall and Leoric. Now, they do see Leoric by himself in the mid lane there. And so they're able to go ahead and pull that camp, get it knocked out there, and get that pressure going in the top lane, or at least to alleviate some of the pressure that's coming their way with those catapults. Johanna's over here falling behind Jaina, or simply just gathering the minions there. Still level 16 to 14 though, in favor of Zul'jin Distillery. So here comes a Ring of Frost. But that's it. That's all we got. Ring of Frost. Just a quick, hey, leave me alone kind of moment. So they did get that lockdown for a moment, but it's not going to be enough. But here comes Johanna looking for nothing absolutely. Just checking that bush so that the rest of the team can head up and get that mid keep. This is still a, this is still a relatively dangerous position for one more fight. They're down 2 keeps. They have to find a fight. They can't do it yet because they're also down 16s. All of the heroics are available for Zul'jin Distillery. The only thing that's missing for one more fight is the Jaina Ring of Frost. And Zul'jin Distillery can be pretty patient about this. They're going to pick up their mid and bot siege camps. So, that's going to take those camps a little while to go through. Are they going core? Looks like they are. So the full team is rotating in. We do have the backs from one more fight. So this is going to be a fight at the core. Looks like a little bit of a delay there from Zul'jin Distillery. Just pulling them back, making sure that one more fight can't get started on that point. But this is going to give now one more fight level 16. They're going to, pulling them back, accomplish the delay on the point, but it's going to give them 16. It gives them the potential now to fight over the objective. Presumably. We'll see. So it gets started here, and they burn this pretty quickly too. I mean, they've got the Leoric and Vala damage here. But here it comes. This is the fight. This is the one more fight that they want. And if this goes well, then great. And if they can live on to the next one. There's the Ring of Frost. Does hit 2. Ankle shot's gonna go down. The Stukov mighty flailing swipe. Not quite enough. Johanna also looking to go down there as well. But Jaina falling to the Leoric up in the, I think, on the control point there. So a 2-for-1 trade in favor of one more fight. So they get to live a little bit longer here and live on until the next fight. But they do have to be careful because we have catapults starting to mount in both the mid and the bot lane. And with Jaina dead, their wave clear is significantly reduced. So Thrall is going to look in here for that Feral Spirit. Doesn't get the route to land here, so they're looking for that Tychus. Not quite able to get there. And Echo falling very low here. And I assume we're going to see an Entomb. But it looks like not quite, as Murden able to bounce out. But they're losing this 4v3 here, as Jaina is back at the core trying to clean out the core, the catapults and everything there. Stukov gonna be able to knock back the team and gets to survive. Thrall hasn't got enough mana to do another route, I don't think, so I don't know if they can get the Tychus kill. And all of a sudden, this is now a very bad place for one more fight. They managed to get that fight. They managed to secure an equal footing on this control point. Here comes Jaina, and she gets the ring to land onto Tychus. The big condemn. Holy cow. Vala coming in with a vengeance. And they get a quick 3 kills out of that condemn blessed shield combo from DeWitt. And now we're going to see Zul'jin Distillery with their level 20s making their way to the core? Question mark? I think so. That's where they're going. Lili not quite enough by herself to do anything to stall this out. Jaina might be, but it's hard to do that when you get pulled in and silenced. And that looks like Zul'jin Distillery doing a lot of damage onto this core, and that's going to be game number 2 going over here to Zul'jin Distillery. A quick-ish 2-0 for the start of their NGS Season 8 in Division D East. So 12-3 in kills. And you know what? You know what I can do? I know what I can do. Why don't we go ahead and put up our standings for tonight? Let's see, because I think we've cast all of the matches that were being done tonight. So let's see, Nexus Cats would be there, that would be there. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I think that's right. All right, so let's take a look at our standings because we can do that. Hey, it worked out. So with that 2-0 victory, that's going to put Zul'jin Distillery at the top of Division D East. So good job to them. And one more fight. There we go. Nexus Cats earlier with the 2-1 victory over Phoenix Rising Amethyst. If you didn't watch that game, I've got to tell you, it was fantastic to cast. A lot of fun. Recyclic joined me for that. So make sure you go check out the VOD for that. But that's it. So thanks everybody for joining me. Murda, I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out. And you know what? I do want to tell everybody, make sure that you come watch Murda's stream tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern time. Because your boy's going to be playing. It's going to be Regen Phoenix playing against Indecisive Scrubs, I think they changed their name to. So thanks again everybody for joining. Hung Fu, I hope you enjoyed getting multiple games of Lili tonight, and we'll see everybody again soon.